One of the easiest ways to figure out what your style is by using Alison Bornstein's 3-word method. Now, it's one of those things that seems kind of easy, but takes a little bit of reflection. And once you have your 3 words, your 3 adjectives basically of how you describe your style, it makes getting dressed so much easier. It makes shopping so much easier, because if something doesn't fit into one of your 3 words, then you're not going to wear it. So it kind of starts to help you create a little bit of a formula for yourself so that you can have some really great uniforms in your wardrobe that you can draw on whenever you need to. So how do you define your style, you're asking me? Well, Alison Bornstein, may or may not know her, she's a stylist out of Hollywood, and she came up with this idea of creating 3 words to define basically your style. So let me use myself as an example. I thought about it a lot this summer, and what are the 3 words that how I would describe my style. The first 2 words came really easily to me. First, I would say I'm definitely on the classic side. I really like pieces that stand the test of time, that I can invest in quality things like a really expensive pair of jeans or a great coat, something that I know that I can have for years and it's never really going to go out of style. That is basically the classic, and I would say I pretty much realized that about myself from quite a young age, because I feel like also dressing in a classic way, for me anyway, makes finding a uniform super, super easy. And then the next word is another word that came really easily, and that is boho. I really seem to like having a kind of feminine, very sort of flowy kind of dressing, something that is really artistic, that especially on the days when I know I'm going to be doing some really creative things like spending time in the garden or doing some painting or artwork or a lot of time in the kitchen, I really tend to wear more of a boho style, something that is comfortable, that I feel good in, that makes me feel kind of romantic. And I know in a lot of ways it seems a little bit silly, but when you know this about yourself, then it makes, honestly, it takes a lot of guesswork out. But the third word I did struggle with quite a bit. And when I was working on developing my workshop that I did a few weeks ago, that was so much fun. Thank you for those of you who joined. I thought about this a lot, and I kind of came up with this word from this cardigan that I was wearing non-stop from late summer throughout the fall. And I realized that I've owned one version of this since I was quite a young teenager doing a lot of thrift shopping. And that is this kind of grandfather cardigan. And I realized that my third word is grandfather chic. I tend to gravitate toward this kind of nod to menswear, fabrics that are really dependable, like a tweed or a plaid, definitely having a great overcoat, definitely having some great cardigans or sweaters in there. It's kind of like nod to an older professor type thing. I really, for some reason, love that style, and it really works for me. So that is my third word. So today I invite you to take a few minutes and think about what would be your 3 words. At the end of the video, I've listed a bunch of adjectives for you to look at so you can put it together. But let me give you a few ideas to start. Do you find your more timeless, elegant, effortless, like Linda Wright style of dressing? Something that's really easy, that is really classic and timeless, but always staying really elegant? Do you find that you like things that are really simple, that are casual yet sexy, like a Charlotte Gainsbourg type idea? Something that is a little bit flirty, that is really feminine, but yet not overly dressed? Or are you like Naomi Campbell? Glamorous, dramatic, powerful. Are these the kind of words that really ring true to you? Do you like that kind of styling, a little bit edgy, full of drama? Or do you tend to be feminine, more playful, theatrical, like Mila Dumas, the it girl out of Russia? She's got this really fun way of dressing that to me always looks like she has a little bit of a costume. She definitely is creating a character when she puts outfits together, which I think is so much fun. I love. Or do you tend to go a little bit more quirky, eclectic, really youthful, really playful, putting together outfits that are a little bit different and definitely uniquely your style? Or would you say you're a little bit more vintage, more unique, really traditional styling, playing with pattern, playing with things that don't necessarily go together, and definitely always having that kind of little vintage edge to your outfits? Or do you find yourself artsy, sophisticated, and dramatic? I love this kind of look, and I could put myself also within these three words, but I feel like the boho classic grandfather chic really does work for me. So what kind of dresser are you? What is your style? How would you define yourself? Here's the list of adjectives for you to have a look at. Please let me know in the comments down below. You know I want to hear from you. You know I want to know what you've chosen for yourself. This is a really fun thing to do because it's going to help you figure out ways to create a uniform, which will then make getting dressed so easy. Not only getting dressed so easy, but shopping so much easier. Because like I said, if something doesn't fall into your three-word category, then you're not going to wear it. And this is not also a place to keep you kind of too defined or too stuck in a box. This is just a tool to give you a little bit of structure, so then you can have the freedom to really play around. So have fun with this. Let me know in the comments what you've chosen. And of course, for more style ideas, more inspiration, continue to follow me on Facebook and on Instagram. You can check me out on Substack. And that is it for this week.